Boldwood presents Last Stop on the Winter Wonderland Express, written by Rebecca Raisin and read by Laura Kerman. Chapter 1. 16th of December, Kent, England. Wedding Day. I have the sudden urge to run. That would be okay if A, I was the running type, and B, it wasn't my wedding day. No one mentions wedding jitters are this intense, do they? My bridal party excitedly chatter 10 to the dozen, while I lock a rictus smile into place that hides my inner angst. It takes a surprising amount of effort to get facial muscles to cooperate. My laissez-faire expression can't be fooling anyone because my makeup artist, Rox, says, "Blink twice if you need help." A burst of hysterical laughter escapes me. "What? I'm fine. I'm good. I'm great." Her eyes narrow. Have I overdone it? I dig myself in deeper. I'm marrying the man of my dreams in a Christmassy winter wonderland wedding. What's not to like? Rox narrows her eyes but doesn't probe further. Phew. Truth be told, my fiancé Miles has been a little distant in the lead-up to the wedding. But then so have I. Life's been chaotic helping clients with their last-minute Christmas travel itineraries while tying up loose ends for our wedding and dream honeymoon. Miles hasn't involved himself with any of the planning until a month ago when he insisted on changing our intimate wedding into an extravaganza of epic proportions. So now I'll be walking down the aisle with a lot more eyeballs on me than I'm comfortable with. Miles is the type who likes the spotlight. I'm the other type. Opposites attract, though, and isn't marriage all about compromise? There was a point I thought I'd remained single forever, because travelling the globe, working remotely for years made it hard to find a soulmate. A summer fling here and there, sure, but those were only seasonal. It's not as if I didn't want to find true love. It just never found me. Until it did. In the shape of handsome, athletic Miles, an old high school crush who'd blindsided me with his confident swagger and high-octane energy after I'd returned home for a quick visit to see my family. Here I am, a year and a half later, having said yes to the dress. Putting down roots, of all things. Although I quietly worry that the travel bug will bite once more. Staying put has never been my thing, but Miles assures me we can deal with any forks in the road together as a team of two. I can handle a nervous bride, Rox says. It's the criers I find difficult. The criers? So it's not just me. Do all brides feel the same seesaw of conflicting emotions on their wedding day? A mix of excitement and trepidation. Why doesn't anyone mention this? It seems rather pertinent to know. The criers are the worst and won't be told, you know? Mascara is the bane of every makeup artist's life. Even waterproof isn't infallible. And once the eyes are bloodshot, there's not a lot I can do. I'm not a miracle worker, am I? Rox shakes her head and continues with a litany of complaints about brides who've ruined her cosmetic artistry. Right now, bloodshot eyes are the least of my concerns. It's my escalated heart rate I'm worried about. Just how long can it beat double time before it gives up the ghost completely? It's strange that I can confidently explore a foreign country where I don't speak the language or know a single soul, but just the thought of a church full of hometown locals is enough to send me spiraling. Like, why are they so overwrought? You've got the blubbering mess type. As Rox rambles on denigrating former clients, I picture holding my hand over her mouth until she runs out of breath and her face goes blue. Probably an overreaction, but here we are. At least I know this panicked feeling is not unique to me. I suppose they're happy tears, though. My mum interjects as she sits beside me getting her makeup done by a much less bitter makeup artist. the lucky thing. Yes, tears of joy. Rox emphasizes the word as if it tastes sour. Be warned, once the mother of the bride starts, it all kicks off. She shoots Mum a withering glare in the reflection of the mirror. It's all rather threatening, but I bite my tongue against a retort, because that would not be fitting under the circumstances. Rox locks her gaze back on mine. You do not want puffy eyes in your wedding photos. That's what Photoshop is for, dear, Mum says with a shrug. If we cry, we cry. Rox sticks me a little harder than necessary with eyeliner, while I try to control the spike of adrenaline coursing through me as I envisioned myself snatching the pencil from her fingers and snapping it in half. Ow! I say as she gouges me once more. Zoz! Her eyes glitter with triumph, as if she's enjoying this. Why didn't Miles and I elope? That's more my speed. We could have married atop a mountain in Peru, exchanged wedding rings underwater while snorkeling in Tahiti, shared our vows in a helicopter above Maui. Oh, that's right, he said no to all of those ideas. After a close-up inspection, Rox declares me ready. Wait, she screeches. Setting spray. She unleashes what looks and burns like a can of hairspray onto my face. I cough and splutter, worrying about aerosols and the ozone layer. You never hear about damage to the ozone layer anymore. Why is that? It's a problem for another day, because right now I'm trying hard to pull oxygen back into my lungs amid the toxic cloud I'm engulfed in. Was that really necessary? I eventually choke out. She arches a perfectly manicured brow. Probably not. For the record, you are the worst makeup artist I've ever met. Rox gasps. Mum sighs. My maid of honor, Freya, shakes her head. Now, girls, Mum says. Don't argue, Aubrey. It's nice of your sister to do your makeup on your wedding day, even if she's a little overzealous with her products. A little? Rox shakes her head. May I remind you I'm doing your makeup gratis. And if we're dropping truth bombs left and right, you're not exactly the easiest subject to work with. I roll my eyes. This is how it always is with us, but the bickering is a good distraction. Rox suffers from younger sibling syndrome. You know the type. Spoiled, petulant, attention-seeking. I try to make allowances for her, but it's not easy. I can hear you, Aubrey. Mum, she's doing that weird under-breath life narration thing again. Please tell her I do not suffer from younger sibling syndrome. I'm sure she made that up to get back at me because she's jealous. I scoff. Jealous of what? Of not being the cutest since I came along? Oh, please. Girls! Mum gives us a warning glare. Really, I'm too old for this kind of carry-on. Sorry, Mum, we mutter, but only one of us is contrite, and spoiler alert, it's not Rox. Mum thanks her own makeup artist and comes to check out Rox's handiwork. I don't like to admit how talented my sister is, but she's managed to transform me from the cliched plain Jane I am into a princess. Wow, you're beautiful, Aubrey. Just beautiful. Rox beams. You have Charlotte Tilbury to thank for that. Mum frowns as if trying to place the name. I don't know who this Charlotte person is. I'm more inclined to think it's good genes, complemented by your wonderful cosmetic artistry, Rox. No, Charlotte is the... Rox's voice peters off as she figures there's no point educating Mum about makeup brands. Mum's right, I begrudgingly admit. You've done a great job, Rox. I'm sure with that amount of setting spray, the makeup won't budge for the next millennia or so. Freya wanders over, glancing at the time. Let's get you into the dress. They gather around as Freya pulls my dressing gown from my shoulders, and I'm left standing exposed in my barely there wedding lingerie, chosen for its claims of no VPL. Mum helps me slip into the ivory satin gown that's been cut on the bias and features a low draped back. It falls around my curves like liquid. There's a fur stole to complete the look and stop me from freezing to death in the draughty church. Mum's eyes glisten with tears. Before I can console her, Rox shoots her a cease and desist glare, vehemently shaking her head as if tears are contagious and will somehow jump from Mum's body to mine and ruin the cosmetics she's just spent the best part of an hour applying. Don't do it, Rox warns. Mum fans her face with a hand. Why do people fan their face like that when they cry? It's a mystery for later, because Mum gulps back tears and sputters, maybe Rox is right. If I start crying, you'll soon join in. Ignore me. A fresh sob escapes her, but there is no time for hugs as Freya motions for me to sit on the love seat so she can help me slip on my heels. Heels that now seem perilously high. Why didn't I choose a more practical shoe? I have visions of tumbling down the aisle with all those eyeballs on me as I awkwardly somersault towards my groom. I'm more of a ballet flat than heels sort of girl. But really, I have no one to blame except myself for getting swept away in the romance of wedding planning and choosing shoes normally found on a runway, not real life. Don't we all want to be the princess for just one day? Even if I do resemble a newborn foal trying to walk in them. Weddings, eh? Just walk slowly, Freya advises, or pretend it's the aisle of a plane. You can walk down those just fine. Mum laughs. I'm happy you'll have a lifelong travel buddy for all those adventures around the world. It puts my mind at ease. Mum always frets about me travelling solo. Now I'll have miles along for the ride. Even if we settle here in the village for good, that doesn't mean we can't zip off when adventure calls. That's if Aubrey lets him tag along, Freya jokes as she absently rubs her bump, which is a bit of a misnomer as she's 8 and a bit months along. You'll be too busy moving in together and making babies. She lifts a questioning brow. My nomadic days might be on pause, but I'm not so sure about the baby part just yet. When I picture my future, I don't see gurgling toddlers with spaghetti sauce-stained faces. That clock has never ticked for me, and Miles is happy to wait and see. Mum's fussing with my veil, Freya's fluffing my hair. When they finally step back, the room falls silent. I turn to face the mirror and gasp in surprise. In the dress, the transformation is complete, despite my slight wobbling in the heels. Mum bites down on her lip as tears slide down her cheeks. Don't mind me, Mum says. You're just so... Freya hands Mum a tissue and throws a comforting arm around her. Breathtaking, Freya finishes while my poor Mum blinks back tears. Today, you're the main character, Aubrey. You're stunning, like a golden age of Hollywood movie star. Rox gives Mum's shoulder a squeeze. Get it together, Mother. We don't want panda eyes. At that, she abruptly turns away and dips her head. Are you welling up too, Rox? Freya teases. Rox spins back to face us, her eyes glassy as she snatches a tissue from Freya. So what if the Ice Queen melts every now and then? Blame global warming. It's not every day your big sister gets married, is it? Let's cheers to that. A glass of champagne is in order. Well, I'll have sparkling apple juice. Freya goes to the ice bucket and returns with a bottle of bubbles and 3 glasses. Mum goes to the kitchen to find Freya a drink. Once we all have a glass in hand, Mum gives a speech about finding true love, which makes us all well up, makeup be damned. Here's to Aubrey. Cheers! We clink glasses. Here's to the honeymoon of my dreams. Oops, it just slipped out. I forget that most people hold the whole wedding part in much higher regard, whereas for me, it's the stepping stone to the fun part, the romantic holiday with my brand new husband. Mum frowns. You'll enjoy the wedding first, though, won't you, darling? I guzzle champagne too fast, my mouth parched as if I've run a marathon and not simply sat there all morning being pampered. Yes, yes, but the honeymoon is what I'm most looking forward to. Just me and Miles. I run an online travel agency curating exotic itineraries for loved-up couples. Now it's my turn to experience romantic travel with my soon-to-be husband. Having been a solo shoestring nomad for so long, our bougie honeymoon seems so wildly glamorous. I'm practically vibrating with excitement. Tonight, we're staying in a swanky hotel in London with a view of Tower Bridge. And tomorrow, we'll catch the Eurostar to Calais to board the famous sleeper train, the Winter Wonderland Express. While the train has been offering five-star holidays for decades, this is the first time they've curated a Christmas-themed tour, highlighting all the festive markets along the European Arctic Circle route. We disembark in Lapland and enjoy an igloo stay in the hopes of catching the spectacular northern lights. Luckily, I got our tickets for a song. One of the perks of being a travel agent is generous discounts, so even Miles had to agree it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we had to grab with both hands. "The cars are here!" Freya calls just as my dad knocks and enters. My dad is the taciturn type, so I don't expect any blubbering from him. I envelop him in a hug and hold tight, like I have so many times in my life where I needed reassurance, needed comfort. He shores me up and reminds me that today is special, but marriage doesn't mean I lose my identity simply by taking on a different surname. I love you, Dad. Love you too, Poppet. "Are you ready to get married?" Mum asks. I'm ready. All my worries evaporate as I consider marriage for what it really is. Once you push the pomp and ceremony to one side, a promise to each other. And what more can I ask for except a promise from the man I adore that he's committed, that he wants to do life with me as his sidekick. Chapter 2, 16th of December, Kent, England. Wedding day. Mum and the bridal party go ahead in a vintage Rolls-Royce. Dad and I take the second car, trailing a few minutes behind them. "You okay?" He gives me one of those paternal stare-downs that he's used my entire life to get me to fess up on my small crimes, like pulling my sister's hair or hiding her Barbie dolls. I'm okay. I just wish we were marrying in front of our nearest and dearest, not the entire village. In case I fall over on these ridiculous heels and knock out my two front teeth, or mess up my vows. Like, what if I say I don't instead of I do? There's a lot to worry about. My toxic trait is to blurt out the most ridiculous things when I'm under pressure. It's like my mouth speaks before my brain engages, so there's a very real chance I might let slip an oddity that will raise eyebrows. Dad gives me a sage nod. He's circumspect, like those inscrutable detectives on TV who remain stubbornly silent, a silence you can't help but fill, blurting all your secrets as you go. He's doing that now, as if he knows I'm not quite being honest with him and he's prepared to wait me out. I wring my hands. What if my wedding ring doesn't fit? What if it slips off? What if the dog Miles doesn't have ate it? I guess I wish I'd held my ground and kept our nuptials small. But this is important to Miles, so... Miles proposed early on, very early on. So this has all moved rather fast. But we, felt certain it was time to get serious, grow up. Marriage, house, responsibilities. None of that matters in the scheme of what today really means. A celebration of your love and the commitment you're making to one another. Why can't you tell me I'm being dramatic? I'm making mountains out of molehills. Why do you have to be so wise? I laugh. He's right, though. If anything goes awry, we'll deal with it. You're not being dramatic, love. It's natural to feel a gamut of emotions on your wedding day. Miles has invited hundreds of people, while he gets to wait safely at the other end of the aisle, wearing flat shoes that grip to the earth. Blame the patriarchy, Dad jokes. The bloody patriarchy strikes again, he laughs. To combat your nerves, I suggest that you think of the guests naked. Dad? What? It's a real strategy. I read about it on the internet. It's meant to help nervous public speakers and the like. And it must be true. Can you imagine picturing straight-laced Uncle Harold naked? The mood is suddenly jubilant as we laugh. The pretty village church comes into view, stunning under a blanket of light snow. Under grey skies, the Christmas tree out the front sparkles with twinkling fairy lights, lending a festive air to the day. Here we go. Now the moment has arrived. A burst of excitement races through me. It's not so bad, this wedding lark. Ready, darling? Dad gives my hand a comforting squeeze. As ready as I'll ever be. Don't think of all those eyeballs. Don't think of naked guests. Think of Miles, my handsome groom, waiting patiently for me, for our shiny new unwritten future where anything is possible. Dad frowns. Where's the bridal party? Your mum said they'd be waiting to help you out of the car. Their car is here, but no sign of them. They're probably inside on account of the early snow, and it's not like I'm wearing a meringue-type dress that I need help with. The driver opens Dad's door, and a blast of cold air fills the space. No wonder the bridal party chose to wait inside the church walls. They'll freeze to death outside in their bridesmaid dresses. Let's get you into the church, then. Dad holds out a hand to me as soft snowflakes cascade down, like something out of a fairy tale. Before I take his proffered hand, Freya rushes from the church doors. Her high heels slip on the icy ground. Freya! I screech. My heart leaps to my throat as I watch my very pregnant friend sliding like a roller skater looking for purchase. She manages to avoid slipping over and gives me an apologetic smile. Dad jogs to her, much surer on his feet, being a 6-foot-tall beanpole with no baby bump upsetting his balance. He takes Freya's arm and guides her across the slick ground and safely back towards the car. The wind whips their words away before I can catch what they're saying. Whatever it has stolen their smiles. Miles forgot the rings, I bet. With her free hand, Freya holds up the hem of her ruched gown as she approaches the car door. Instead of helping me out, she slides in beside me in the space my dad vacated. Aubrey? Her voice cracks. Worry flashes over her features. Then something else. Pity, maybe? What? What is it? My eyes drop to her belly. Do we need to go to the hospital? Is the baby coming? That would explain her urgency in trying to run in heels in the inclement weather. Freya shakes her head, grips my hand and squeezes hard like she needs to cling on tight for whatever she's about to tell me, as if I might float away. No, it's not the baby. It's Miles. He's not here. What? Where is he? My mind goes to wardrobe malfunctions, a car accident on the icy roads. Perhaps he left his vows at home. That would be a very plausible Miles thing to do. But deep down, I sense the truth. And it's not good. In fact, it's very, very bad. Freya swallows hard. Apparently, he was here, but he left about 10 minutes ago in a bit of a state. He told his parents that he's changed his mind and doesn't want to get married. He thinks maybe he's rushed into the relationship and it's all moved too fast. My head is going to explode. I did tell him he was rushing things, but he insisted on marriage. He did. What the actual hell? Mortification colours me scarlet. And he's waited until now to share this. My blood pressure spikes. Rage and shame fight for supremacy, but shame wins the race. How utterly humiliating. Is he really not coming back? My voice comes out strangled. Freya gives me a slight nod as if not trusting herself to speak either. This whole situation almost feels like a practical joke, albeit a distasteful one. Aren't jilted brides just fodder for rom-com movies? Films starring Julia Roberts and Adam Sandler. It's all so familiar, like I've heard this song before. None of my relationships ever go the distance, and I'm clueless to what I do wrong. But it must be me, after all. I'm the common denominator. Grr! I'm not a fan of the whole blame game, but this betrayal, well, it gives a girl the urge to hold up a magnifying glass to herself to look for clues. A jilted bride. It can't get much worse than that. I'm so sorry, Aubrey. I give her a useless nod. I mean, what else can I do or say here? The man decided to run instead of commit to me. Stupid me thought that I'd finally found the one. As if Cupid, that cherubic little fallacy, had finally shot his arrow, especially for me. How could I have been so gullible? I've always been unlucky in love, and this proves it. No, this can't be right. There must be another explanation. I find my phone and call Miles. He switched his off. I call his best man, Leo, who awkwardly confirms Miles has had a change of heart and isn't up to speaking to me right now. Leo is so apologetic, so concerned, that suddenly this nightmare becomes very real indeed. A sob escapes Freya. This all feels so strange, like I'm floating outside of my body. Is it the shock? It must be. I'm grappling with what to do next. There's no guide for this. No one gives you a list of appropriate reactions for when your fiancé abruptly leaves you at the altar. Is this why he's been so withdrawn recently? He was having doubts. Why didn't he voice those concerns? Even my dad, who usually has all the answers, stays glued to the spot, like he's unsure of how to proceed. There's one other problem, Freya gulps. Rox saw red and has stolen one of the guests' e-scooters. She's on her way to Miles's cottage. Oh God, Dad says, clutching his head. It's very likely that she will kill him. Suddenly galvanized, Dad sprints into the church, perhaps to pray that Rox doesn't catch up to the runaway groom, or possibly that she does. Jury is still out on how Dad's feeling at the minute. While my sister and I bicker like children, we stick together through thick and thin. Yes, we might torment each other, but that doesn't mean anyone else is allowed the privilege. Rox is fiercely protective of her family, but I do worry there's a little too much homicidal maniac languishing just under the surface, and any excuse will do to act on those urges. Right now, I've got bigger things to worry about, like being on display as guests wander from the church and swing their confused gazes squarely at me. Great. Now I have an audience to witness my humiliation. I can imagine the whispers around the village. Poor boy left that travel-obsessed Aubrey at the altar, so her crazy sister ran him over with a stolen e-scooter and now he's missing a leg. Those girls need taking into line. No wonder he changed his mind, a family like that. Wait, no. Miles doesn't get to be dismembered to avoid the blame. I fumble for my phone and call my sister, who answers on the first ring. I'm almost at his place. I'm going to take great pleasure in hurting him, like he hurt you, Aubrey. Her words come out breathless, choppy, as if she's riding a wave of adrenaline. Oh, God. She's going to kill him. Let's just say she's never taken to Miles. Well, except that one time she literally took to him with a hammer after a slight misunderstanding between the pair. And ever since then, Rox has been leery of the guy. Was she right about him all along? Please don't, Rox! My little sister strikes me as the type who'd enjoy a bit of bloodshed now there's a reason to warrant it. The very last thing I need is this to blow up into a grievous bodily harm charge. Part of me hopes this is just a knee-jerk reaction, and Miles will be right back, red-faced, full of apologies. But isn't his desertion unforgivable? Let him run away like the fool he is, I cry. What? She screeches. Where's the fun in that? No, he needs to pay for his crimes. I want to manslaughter him. I gasp. This isn't manslaughter, Rox. This is premeditated. Slaughter all the toxic men who dare hurt women. Manslaughter the mansplainer. Oh, right. I see the difference. While I wouldn't mind him suffering a spot of pain right now, any retaliation will paint him as the victim, and I need answers first. What if there is a valid reason? But then, why isn't he talking? Nothing makes sense. And he will pay, Rox, but if you hurt him, which you're very capable of, he then becomes the wronged man, and everyone will be sympathetic towards him. Let's be clear, he doesn't deserve that. How am I thinking so straight? Why aren't I curled up in the fetal position? I suppose all that's still to come. Unless I escape. Is there a town in this big, wide world that has 0 men in it? If not, I'll make one. A community of jilted brides will burn effigies of cowardly men and... How would anyone in their right mind be sympathetic towards him? I'm not planning on killing the snake, just maiming him a bit for crying out loud. Maiming him? How to convince her and fast. Mum and Dad live here too. They don't want to face any blowback, Rox. They'd never live it down. Wouldn't it be better to hurt him in, say, a year or so when no one will connect those dots back to you? Buying time is the best I can do for the damn man, in the hopes her anger will wane. Rox is quiet while she contemplates it. You're right. Here's the type who'll press charges. A future stealth attack is much smarter. Fine, this calls for Plan B then. With that, she abruptly hangs up. What's she doing? Freya asks, peeking out through her hands as if she doesn't really want the details. Probably wise. I shrug helplessly. Plan B. When the stragglers by the church doors become a crowd and a few break off and make their way towards the wedding car, I'm spurred into action. There's no way I'm having a conversation with these people before I've talked to Miles. Mum and Dad are still inside, probably with Miles's parents, so I leave them to it. I call to the driver, who doubles as the local postman and now has a front row seat to this disaster show. Can you take me home, please? Sure. Chapter 3, 16th of December, Kent, England. Wedding day that wasn't. We arrive back at the cottage I share with Rox. Miles and I haven't officially moved in together yet. He still shares a bachelor pad with Leo. But I usually sleep there most evenings, even though I rent a room in Rox's cottage. The plan was, to find our own house after the honeymoon. Now I'm thankful I have this private space in which to fall apart. Freya wrings her hands while I question every little thing before collapsing on the sofa in a messy, sobbing heap. Were my own doubts earlier a sign that things weren't right between us, or were they simply the doubts of a nervous bride? Truth be told, settling in one place always felt like a huge sacrifice, but I'd been prepared to do it because of my love for Miles. What changed for him? What made him balk at the idea of matrimony? Our phones simultaneously beep with a text. Freya swipes her screen. Your parents have told everyone at the venue, she says. They want to know if they should invite guests to enjoy the reception or not. The reception. All that catering going to waste. A decadent Christmas feast with all the trimmings. And all those staff hired for the day. Not to mention the effort our guests have made to be here. A few even coming from abroad. Yes, they should have lunch. We've paid for it. I'm sure there's no refunds on the day of. I clench my jaw as I call Miles again. Nothing. The front door opens with a blustery bang, making me jump in fright. Rox appears as the wind whips her black locks around her face. With her mussed hair and wild eyes, she looks like something out of a horror movie. Is everything okay, Rox? I ask. You didn't catch up with Miles, did you? I surreptitiously survey her for blood spatter, and am relieved when I find none. Rox gives me an evil grin that can only mean a form of retribution has been meted out. What have you done? Freya whispers, holding a protective hand over her belly. Let's hope her unborn baby isn't about to hear its first murder confession. Rox shuts the door and throws herself next to me on the sofa. Nothing drastic, but let's just say Miles won't be enjoying his wedding night safely tucked up in bed. My stomach flips as I debate whether to pry any further. If I don't know, I can't tell, right? But damn it, I care about the man. Where will he be enjoying it? The bottom of the river? 6 foot underground? In a vat of chemicals that will dissolve? He'll be praying to the porcelain gods. I exhale a thankful breath. He's still alive. While I'm mad at him too. I don't want the guy dead, and I especially don't want to spend my aborted wedding day at the police station protesting Rox's innocence. An innocence, I might add, that precisely no police officer around here will believe. Praying to the porcelain gods? What on earth does that mean? Freya carefully asks, her face pinched. Probably because even hearing these admissions makes her an accessory. And no 8-month pregnant woman wants to be pulled into a drama like this. Not when she's already battling swollen ankles and the constant need to pee. But this is Rox's love language, balancing the scales. And she only does these acts of love for the ones she holds dear. So really, I should be grateful. It's just, I'm not really the revenge type, but that's subject to change. It means I snuck in and filled up his beloved protein drinks with horse laxatives. It's the least he deserves. More fool him for leaving his back door unlocked. He was asking for trouble. He didn't commit to the till death do you part bit, so this will help excise the demons from his system. She flashes me a triumphant smile. I'm no pharmacist, but a quick mental calculation about potential outcomes equals trouble. Big trouble. Rox, wouldn't horse laxatives be way too strong for a human? His insides might become his outsides. I pale as I imagine him suffering a violent digestive upset with medication meant for an animal that weighs 4 times what he does. One can only hope. I'm struck by a sudden onset of giggles. Could this day get any crazier? When I compose myself, I ask, where did you get such a thing? I took a slight detour on the way to his place and got them from... Actually, never you mind. The less you know, the better, Aubrey. That goes for you too, Freya. There's no question that he won't ingest the drinks. Miles is obsessed with his protein intake and consuming exactly 130 grams per day. He does this by mainlining pre-mixed protein drinks 365 days of the year, no exceptions, and records it all on an app. His body is his temple. And why, oh why, didn't I see that as problematic? I need to warn Miles, but then I run the risk of getting Rox in trouble. This will have to be handled delicately. Freya turns to me, rubbing my arm, trying to mask the alarm on her features. Shall I make those calls and tell the guests to make their way to the reception? Can you call my parents? Ask them to sort all of it? I send her a pleading look that I hope translates to, tell them to fix this. Today, the disaster of all days, a bit of delegation is acceptable. Freya picks up her handbag, suddenly all business. I'm so glad she's here to help with the practicalities and Rox's revenge plot. My mind is scattered, like all my hopes and dreams. I'll go back to the church and chat with them, she says, giving me a look that implies she understands the assignment. Oh, and the London hotel, the honeymoon. Is there any chance you can defer? I know how excited you are about the Winter Wonderland Express, but I can call them, explain the situation. We were supposed to stay in a ritzy hotel in London this evening and catch the Eurostar tomorrow to Calais for our, scratch that, my dream honeymoon. Can you please cancel the hotel for this evening? I'm not keen to stay in London alone on what would have been my wedding night. Of course. But the honeymoon? I hold in another sob. They won't accept a last-minute cancellation, and the tickets were so expensive, a splurge, even with my travel agent discount. A Christmas train ride to remember, full of festive activities at every stop. My lip quivers at the thought of missing out. It's the first time they've offered this particular festive-themed journey. Usually they run shorter snow trips without all the Christmas activities on and off board. You'll go and you'll enjoy every damn minute, Rox pipes up, eyes blazing. I could go with you, Freya says, then glances at her belly. At 8 months pregnant? And who'll look after the brood you already have? Rox scoffs. And I can't go because I've got brides galore marrying in Christmas wedding. Sorry. Half of those marriages will end in divorce, so don't feel bad, Orbs. Really, you've dodged a bullet. There's a lot to be said for being free, untethered, single, alone, unmoored. I hold up a hand. I get it, Rox, thanks. Whatever chemical, adrenaline, maybe, that was keeping me present evaporates, and fatigue hits me like a brick. It doesn't matter that it's just after lunchtime. All I want to do is crawl into bed and sleep. Forget today ever happened. Their voices drone on as they try to bolster me and come up with a plan, but I tune out, closing my eyes and flopping back on the sofa. Honeymoon-for-one? For a travel agent who specializes in romantic holidays for couples, it's upsetting, but it could also be the perfect solution. A faraway place to cool my heels and avoid the worst of the gossip, avoid the truth. I am alone again. At Christmas, my favorite time of year, no less. Sod it. I'll find my Christmas spirit, even if that spirit is at the bottom of a bottle of spiced rum. I'll go on my honeymoon for one, and I will be merry and bright, even if it kills me. That's the way, Rox fist bumps me. Do you want me to sort another train ticket so you can go direct from Kent to Calais now that you're not staying in London this evening? Save the extra running around? I consider it. No, I'll head into London tomorrow and then catch the Eurostar to Calais like I planned. No point throwing good money away. Good plan, Rox says with a nod. The satin of my dress strangles me the more I sink down the sofa. Thank you both for everything. But if you don't mind, I'm going to throw myself in the shower and pretend today was all a bad dream. Freya, if you could help my parents and... Leave it to me, Freya says. If you need me, just phone any time. I'm sure there's a perfect explanation for all of this. Miles loves you, and he's a good guy. Rox boos. Hardly. Even my cat can't stand him. To be fair, your cat hates everyone. Freya gives Rox a long look. You've got me there, Rox concedes. But she hisses at Miles like he's the devil incarnate. A very clear sign he's no good. To diffuse any argument for or against Miles, I jump in and say, Thank you for your help today, Freya. I pull myself up from the sofa and give her a hug. Should I come back? I'm mindful of her pregnancy and go to reassure her I'm okay when Rox says, I'll stay here. I swiped a bottle of champagne from Miles's place, so it's only fitting I toast to the misfortune coming his way. Thanks, Rox. Knowing she's not out committing further crimes does ease my mind. After a lengthy shower trying to remove makeup that has formed its own dermal layer, I fall into bed and swipe open my phone. There are a lot of texts and social media notifications, but nothing from Miles. No apology, no explanation. I call him again. His phone is still switched off. I send him one single word. Why? Clearly Miles is not Mr. Right. As of today, He's won the honour of being Mr. So Very Wrong. What excuse can he give me that will make sense? None. But is it for the best? I wilt when I stay in one place. The urge to explore this earth runs deep. It also makes me a better travel agent, having first-hand experience of the places I recommend. Only love made me pause, stop to catch my breath. But that love must have been one-sided. My honeymoon for one can't come quick enough. The desire to get out of town is strong. I'll buy a festive mug at every Christmas market and drink mulled wine until the world around me softens. I have a thing with finding festive mugs that I usually send home to Rox for her ugly mugs collection. I'll visit Paris, Bruges, Amsterdam, Hamburg, Copenhagen, Stockholm, and Lapland, and finish at the swanky igloo stay to catch the northern lights. I'm used to travelling solo, and even though this trip is marketed as a romantic journey for couples, I'm sure I won't be the only singleton. Chapter 4, 17th of December, Calais, France. Boarding the Winter Wonderland Express. The next day, I catch the early train out of Kent and arrive in London, then board the Eurostar to Calais. In Calais, I spend a couple of hours exploring, but find the port city rather lacking. It's more of an industrial wasteland in parts, and uninspiring. Being a transit point, it's filled with impatient tourists hurrying to make their next connection. If my toes are run over one more time by suitcase wheels, I'll scream. Under different circumstances, I'd find the silver lining, but today I don't have it in me. Mid-afternoon, I ditched the idea of sightseeing further and find the platform for the Winter Wonderland Express, in the hopes they're offering early check-in. Damn, I'm not the only one who had that idea. The long queue snakes down the platform. The train sleeps up to 100 people plus staff, and by the looks of it, a good chunk of those have arrived already. According to my research, the train is divided into two identical sections, with 50 passengers aside. This duplication is so that guests can enjoy the amenities without too much crowding. There's nothing else to do but join the end of the queue and wait. I plan on keeping a low profile and my heartbreak to myself. I peek at people ahead of me. Gah! I'm smacked in the face by the sight of loved-up couples as far as the eye can see. They're kissing, they're canoodling, they're speaking baby language to each other, and wearing matching Christmas outfits. It's sickening. Probably my jealousy talking, but still, I'm so obviously alone in a sea of sweethearts at Christmas. 'Tis the season for resting Grinch face. The line moves relatively quickly as couples board the train. I'm so busy tuning out the many lovebirds and their saccharine sweet nothings that I don't notice the life-size gingerbread man until he